What's up, everybody? You feel this beat right here? Here we go. Hey! We about to stamp this out. So if you feel me, come on.
Hi everybody, it's Cindy here with January's Technique Club. So this technique I think you're absolutely going to love. Some of you may have done this in the past, but if you're like me, it's been a long time. So I was excited to do this one. I'm hoping next month's we can do will be super fun as well. I have something in my mind. But this one, I know some of us have done this. Hopefully it's a refresher for you. If it's not, I've got something going on with my hair here. If it's not, I think you're going to love it. So let's get started. So what are you going to need for this class? You are going to need your blends. Okay, and I'm going to give you the colors. You can use whatever colors you want, but I'll give you the colors that I'm using. You're going to need 99% alcohol, and it has to be 99% alcohol. Can't be 97. It will not work. In your envelopes, I've given you a little container, and I'll show you what we're doing. It's the alcohol background technique. So this is the first card we're going to be making, or one of the cards we're going to be making. This will be your second card. And this will be your third card. Okay, so you're going to see how quickly they come together and how much fun they are. So in your package, you will have a piece of black. Actually, you'll probably have two pieces of black, is my guess. Oh, you'll need an aqua painter as well, which is this. This one's the aqua painter. Or if you have the white ones, they're the same. They're the new version. So two pieces of black, you'll have a white, and then you'll have a vanilla. And you will have your instructions right here. Your instructions. Okay? All right, let's get started. So, first thing you need is just your vellum. So you're going to pour your alcohol into your container. You don't need a lot. You can always add more alcohol later on if you need to. You'll probably want like a paper towel or something close to you as well. I'm just going to grab some Kleenex because that's what's closest to me right now. All right, so what you want to do here is you're going to pick three colors. I'm going to pick these three. So this is dark cherry cobbler, dark pretty peacock, or actually that's light, so we'll use the dark, and dark old olive. So this is going to be my test. Now, this technique works much, much better with dark colors than it does light colors. So using your paintbrush end of your blend. Oh, somebody has destroyed my blend. That's a brand new blend too, and it's destroyed. You're going to randomly color your, yeah, look at my blends are completely ruined. Okay, you don't want your colors to touch each other, but you want to fill in as much of your vellum as possible. Now, you can do these in different shapes. I know some of the ladies the other night were doing them in lines and circles and that kind of thing, and you just play around with it. You'll find what works nice and what doesn't. But this is going to be your sample one, right? Okay. So it looks terrible. Fantastic. That's what we want. Now you're going to take your aqua painter, you're going to put it right into your alcohol, and you're going to very heavily wet this. Now, when you go to do this, keep whatever color you're starting with, start with that color and move that color around first. Do not go like red to green to blue without cleaning. So I'm doing all my reds, and then I'll do all my greens, and then I'll do all my blues. Okay? So I'm just kind of moving that around, and you're going to see how the alcohol is spreading. So now I'm going to go into my greens. And so you want to make sure you're applying a decent amount of alcohol. And the reason I say that is because the more alcohol you put on, the more your color will spread. Now, as it dries, you will get a totally different look. Okay, so keep that in mind. You can see how it's spreading already, and then I'll go in and I'll do my greens. So I'm just kind of tapping on here just to help it spread. If you mix your colors by accident, you'll notice that they'll just kind of go muddy. Now, if you are finding that it's pooling in an area, you can use your heat gun and dry it off. Or you can just take a paper towel or Kleenex or whatever and just kind of dab. It does dry relatively quick, but you'll see how I went from one look to another. Now, once this is more dry, what you can actually do is take your aqua painter into your alcohol and just tap it randomly all over your paper. And what this does is it gives it a water drop effect. So it's kind of a cool way to get a different look. Okay, so once that is dry, you can then go ahead and glue it onto your white. Now, with this technique, you always want to have it on a white background because it almost gives it like a stained glass type of a look, and it will make it pop. So here is the one I did in class. So you can see the same colors, but yet how different those two look, right? And each person in the class, their sample and their cards all look different. So once this is drying, just dry relatively quick, you can go ahead and you can glue this onto your white, and then your white is going to go onto your black, and then your instructions will go ahead and go, oops, daisies, will go right onto this piece here. Okay, and then this can go right into your book. What else did I want to tell you? Something just popped in my head. It'll come to me. When you go to glue this, you really only want to do the corners and maybe like where there's a big blotch there. Because it's vellum, you will see the glue, right? This does dry relatively quick. Oh, the other thing I was going to tell you is you can actually use your heat gun to dry this. If you would choose to do that, you can. It will curl your paper a little bit, but then you just flip it over and it will go along the back and heat from the back. Okay, so just there we go. And you can see how quickly it dries. And then this is going on to my black. So this will go into my book. Okay? Okay, beautiful. Okay, so those are done. Card number 1. Oh, my nose all of a sudden's gotten incredibly itchy. Card number 1. Well, let's do the lavender one. So I'm going to tell you with my original card that I did, just this one right here, I used Bubble Bath on here. And Bubble Bath is a super, super light color, and you can't see it. So this is where you really want to make sure that you're using a darker color. So we're going to change this up. We're going to use Berry Burst, Highland Heather, and then we're going to use Flirty Flamingo. Okay, so you have your purple base. One of these whites will be your inside, one's going to be your vellum, and the other one's going to be the vellum back. Okay, so let's just bring our vellum in. We're going to use Berry Burst. Again, I like to use the paint end. If you don't have these colors, that's okay. Use whatever colors you have in the pinky purple tones, okay? Does not have to be these exact same colors. It actually would be very interesting to see what yours look like using different colors. Okay, and then I'll bring in my Flirty Flamingo. Again, making sure that I'm not touching the colors. Okay, and bringing in my alcohol. And I want to be very free with the alcohol. Don't be too chintzy, because because it will not spread. I should have been cleaning that off in between. My bad. Otherwise, what happens is this is my alcohol will change color. Okay, and then I'm going into my Flirty Flamingo. Nope. I have a terrible habit of not cleaning off in between. Okay, and then I'm going into my purples. Did it again. I'm trying not to do that, and the more I'm trying not to, the more I am. There I go again. Okay. It's like a challenge. Now, the other question that got asked at the class was, so can I add more? And my answer is yes, you can. Once it's dry, you can go back and add in more color where you think you want to add in more color. But I would suggest you wait until it's dry, because otherwise it might damage your alcohol markers. Okay, so let that dry for a minute and see how we make out. All right, so you can see how light this looks. Now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some splatter on this. I love the splatter effect. I just find it really steps up the card and makes it look like a whole different technique. So I'm just really tapping. There we go. Okay. So once I'm happy with that, you can see it's still a little bit wet, but not too bad. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue this onto the back of my white, or onto the front of my white. And you find that it does just make it pop. I love the wet splatter on it. Okay, so I could actually do this if I wanted. Okay. There we go. And then you're going to go ahead and adhere that to the front of your Highland Heather paper, your card front, like this. And then I'm going to leave it up to you what you stamp on, like stamp the front with. I did mine in the lavender because it was just the purples and it was very appropriate, but you can use whatever you want to stamp on here. Okay, I think I gave you a piece of linen thread to go with that as well. All right, card number 2 is using Pretty Peacock. You know, one of my favorite colors of all time. So Pretty Peacock will be the base, our white for the inside. Oh, and I gave my white vellum or my vellum piece to somebody because they messed theirs up. So let me cut a piece for myself. All right, so here I am with mine. So for this one, I'm going to use my dark Pretty Peacock. So it's very disappointing about these markers. Okay, I'm going to use Wild Wheat, which I know everybody, not Wild Wheat fans. And then I'm going to come in with Moody Mauve. Okay, taking in my aqua painter, oops, I'm squeezing water out, I'll go with my Pretty Peacock first. I've lost my paper towel here. Okay, so see how I'm just kind of mixing these colors, and I'm not worrying too much about what it looks like right now, because as it dries and moves around, I'm going to get a totally different look. The important thing here is just to kind of move around your ink consistently. Okay. So there we go. Just moving this around. Again, every time you do this, it's going to look different. You're going to get a whole different look. And so I encourage you to do this with different colors, different inks. See how this is changing, right? Does not look anything like when I started. And of course, I'm going to flick. Should probably wait until this is maybe a little bit drier, but we'll go ahead and do the flicking part now as well. And once you put the white piece behind, makes the world of difference. Keeping that in mind, okay? Okay, let's just let that dry for a second. Let's clean this up. All right, so here we are. You can see how much different this looks. I'm gonna go ahead and glue this down. It dries very quickly, which is kind of cool if you think about it. So just a little bit of adhesive. Here we go. And then we can glue this right down onto our cardstock. Okay, and then I'm going to leave it up to you how you decorate this. My original card is this way. So using this piece, you could make it a portrait card, you could make it a landscape card, and then your element there. Okay, so I'll leave that part up to you because it's your card. All right, last one is your Berry Burst. So this one I'm going to do something slightly different, not too much different. Process is always going to be the same. I do give you three pieces of white. So one is going to be your inside. One we are going to emboss right here. Okay. And then one is going to be for behind your vellum. Okay. That's why you have three. All right. So for this one, I'm using Berry Burst Tahitian Tide Parakeet Party. Okay. So dark Berry Burst. And this one we're going to die cut once it's all dry. So that's the really cool thing about this is you can create your own backgrounds, but you can also create your own shapes. So if you have like a butterfly die or or like a bird or something like that. You can cut these out into different shapes, which is so crazy cool. Okay. All right, here we go. We're going to go do the berry burst first. Move this around. Keep moving it. And this one, berry burst. So you really don't want to like cut too much out of the alcohol. Like, don't be afraid to use the alcohol. It does dry right into the vellum paper, so use it. Don't try to use it sparingly. It's okay if it's very wet. Go into the parakeet party. You can see here, I don't know if you can tell on camera, but it has a little bit of the berry burst onto my brush. So I'm kind of mixing my colors a bit, but try not to do that if you can. So how this one came to be, how this card came to be is I did this color combination and I showed it to Maya. She's like, oh, I don't really love it. So then I thought, okay, well, what if we cut it out and only focused on certain parts of it? And so that's how this design came to be. So that's what we're going to do. So depending on how yours turns out is going to depend on where your focal points are going to be that you want to die cut. So if we can bring some more of that down. So pick your color that you want to be your main color. I could have probably done more berry burst. And then once it's dry, we're going to actually put the white cardstock behind it. Oops, maybe I should. Okay, put it behind once it's dry. You can glue it down if you want, you don't have to. And then pick your shapes where you want your focal points to be, looking here. And then you're going to cut out your circles at the same time. So that way you're only doing the cutting once, right? And keep the outline because you could probably use that for something else. And then you have this little element here to kind of incorporate wherever you want, and then you have your tag, okay? But don't forget to emboss this other piece of paper because you have 3 whites, one for the inside, one for this one, and one to go behind your element or your front. All right, I hope you liked that. That was a really super fun technique. If you have any questions about that or anything else, please message me and let me know. I'd love to answer your questions. But overall, I hope you loved it. And I hope you're going to try it out and make lots of cards with it. All right. Thanks for joining me. Hope you're having a great day. And wait till you see what I have planned for March, I guess it would be. All right. We'll chat soon. Bye.